Tired of rewriting Windows to your USB drive over and over again? Let me show you how to make one universal bootable flash drive using Ventoy, step by step, even if you're a complete beginner. Ventoy is a tool that turns your USB drive into a multi-boot device. You just copy ISO files to it, and they show up in a boot menu. No unpacking, no complicated setup. Go to the official website, ventoy.net. Head to the download section. Download the Ventoy for Windows zip file. Unzip it and launch ventoy2disk.x. Let's take a quick look at the interface. If you want a full breakdown with all the advanced stuff, check the suggested video. If needed, you can choose the app's language from the drop-down menu. The main window is simple, Device. This is where you select your USB drive. Double-check it so you don't wipe the wrong one. Remember the name, you'll need it later. Install. This will make your USB bootable. Warning, this will erase everything on it. Update. Updates Ventoy on an existing USB stick without deleting any files. Options. Extra settings. The most useful ones. Secure boot support. Enable this if you want to boot on newer systems with UEFI. I usually turn this off. On some Acer and Lenovo laptops, you'll also need to disable secure boot in BIOS. Otherwise, you'll get an error when booting. Partition style, MBR or GPT. MBR works for most systems, but GPT is better for modern UEFI devices. MBR is more universal, but might not work on some newer machines. Partition configuration. You can change the file system or create an extra partition for storing other files, besides ISOs. Clear Ventoy. Removes Ventoy from the USB stick and formats it back to a regular flash drive. Show all devices. If your drive doesn't show up in the list, turn this on to show all disks, including internal SSDs and HDDs. Be careful with this. You don't want to wipe your system drive by accident. At the bottom, you'll see two version numbers. One is the version of Ventoy installed on your PC, and the other on your USB drive. Plug in a flash drive, at least 8 to 16 gigabytes. Select it from the list at the top. Click Install, confirm it twice. In a few seconds, it's done. You'll see two new partitions. A small one for Ventoy system files. A big one. That's where you copy your ISO files. Now just copy whatever ISO files you need onto the flash drive. Windows 7, 10, 11, Ubuntu, antivirus tools, Acronis. Anything you want. You can even put them into folders. Ventoy will still detect them. To boot from it, restart your computer and enter the boot menu. Usually F12, ESC, or F11, depending on your device. Choose your USB drive. You'll see the Ventoy boot menu. Here's what the keys in the boot menu do. L. Language. Lets you change the menu language. Useful if you want to work in your native language. F1. Help. Shows quick instructions and tips for using the menu. F2. Browse. Opens a file browser to explore the ISO files on your USB. F3. Tree view. Switches the view to a tree-style structure. Super helpful if you have folders and lots of ISOs. F4. Local boot. Exits Ventoy and boots your main system from the hard drive. Search and boot Windows. Automatically finds and boots Windows images for install or recovery. F5. Tools. Opens up extra tools like image management and boot options. F6. X menu. Opens an extended menu with more functions, but only if you've customized this menu earlier in Ventoy Plugin. Full Ventoy Plugin walkthrough is in the suggestion above. It depends on your setup and version. Now you know the boot menu. Just use the arrow keys to choose an ISO. Hit enter. Next, select boot in normal mode. And boom, it starts loading. By the way, if you don't like how the interface looks, you can customize it. Ventoy supports themes. Download a theme, unzip it to the root of your USB drive, and the look of the boot menu will change. You can even make it look like macOS if you want. More on that in the video linked above. Ventoy is a must-have for anyone who reinstalls systems regularly. Simple, powerful, and free. How many ISOs do you keep on your Ventoy stick? Drop a comment, let's compare. If this video helped, give it a like. There's a ton more Windows and hardware guides on the channel. Subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. I'd also be happy if you checked out my other videos.